Hello, friends. This is another episode of the program Empire of Lies, in which we talk about manipulation and disinformation of the Russian media. Nuclear triad, diamonds, and concessions for the sake of peace, Russian television, in particular Skabiva, continues to build its own alternative reality around the war against Ukraine. Simultaneously uses the topic of nuclear weapons, economic sanctions, and diplomatic missions to convince the viewer the West is tired, Trump is deciding, and Ukraine is on its knees. Nuclear stability as an instrument of pressure. The broadcast begins with a reminder. The Russian nuclear triad was not affected by the special operation and almost completely modernized. A quote from a US Air Force general is used as evidence of Russia's strength. In fact, this is a familiar technique. The decree on the appointment was signed by Zelenskyy. Details in our report. Andriy Yermak and Rustam Umerov will go to the United States this week to meet with Whitkoff. It has already been announced and confirmed by Whitkoff himself. Bloomberg reports this with reference to its own sources. According to the agency's interlocutor, the agenda of the visit will focus on issues of security guarantees for Ukraine, as well as on preparations for a future bilateral meeting between President Volodymyr Zelenskyy and Putin. Kyiv pretends to be ready for dialogue in order not to finally lose the favor of the owner of the White House in York-Litte from the head of the administration of the Ukrainian President Yermak and the head of the National Security and Defense Council Umerov. Yermak gives an interview to Trump's favorite newspaper, and the New York Post comes out with the headline that the Ukrainian side is literally rushing around in search of a site for a possible summit. Among the options are Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Italy, Switzerland, Austria and Türkiye. The agenda of the meeting could include discussions on security guarantees, as well as a possible future bilateral meeting between Volodymyr Zelenskyy and Russian President Vladimir Putin. The Ukrainian delegation's visit comes amid intense consultations that began after Zelensky's recent meeting with the US President and European leaders at the White House. While Trump is pushing for a quick agreement between Kiev and Moscow to end the war, Ukraine's allies are focusing on developing clear guarantees that could ensure that such an agreement is implemented. Among supporters of the alternative for Germany, almost three-quarters think so.